at 9 o'clock, but distractions will not let me be great. Hi, everyone. Coming in, say hello. Coming in, say hello. Let me close out this page. Give me 1 second. Hi, everybody. Ekaleo, ekaro, whatever situation is it is on your end. Say hello when you come in. Hello, everyone. Let me see. Ooh, that was an error. Hi, everyone. Come on in. Say hello. Say hello. Say hello. Say hello. Let me close this out. Give me 1 second, real quick. You've already started with the questions. Give me 1 second, people. I have to respond to this real quick so I don't forget. Um, how's everybody's week been? Coming in, say hello. Coming in, say hello. All right, here we go. Okay, let's go back there. Yes, but 1 second. We'll get to that when we get into it. How's everybody been? Come on in, everyone. Say hello. Hi, Facebook. Hi, YouTube family. Hello, TikTok and Instagram. How's everybody doing? And yeah, Josh, whenever I sing that song, I always remember my younger brother. He and I have questionable Yoruba skills. Week has been great. Awesome. Mr. Laleko, nice to know that. It's been it's been a week starting out. I started with court this morning, so story of my life. One from one. Yes, it's been a while I saw you. Yes. The thing is, oh, you guys are in the negatives in Minnesota, Miss Giwa. See, I used to live in Chicago. I lived in Chicago for 3 years. 2003. Yes. About a little over 3 years. So I know what the weather is in the Midwest. And as much as I love Chi-Town, it is not happening that I will live there again, knock on wood, in the wintertime. Let me put it this way. Timateri, an angel sent from God. That God says, okay, this is your next husband, but he lives in Chicago. Money, excuse me, oh God, Jesus. Okay, there's a problem with that. I am moving to Chicago. I'm not going. That's how much I cannot do the cold, the winter blizzard in Midwest. I don't know how y'all still doing it. Alabama, tomorrow, you go snowing right now. No, and I'm not doing it. Let me tell you something. In Alabama, we don't even have. You know how you have snow tractors or whatever snow equipment on the road. We don't have that. Mississippi, Alabama, we don't like. If we have little snow, like 1 inch, 2 inch, everything shuts down because there is no salt to put on the road. There's just nothing. Everything shuts down. We don't have that. So yeah. So when it gets cold, they were gonna have my son, his soccer team. They were supposed to have a soccer tournament like 3 hours away. It was canceled. Why? There's supposed to be an ice storm. I ain't seen no ice outside. But ice within it's just really cold. That's what happens in the South. So, but anyway, hi everyone. This is Attorney Abisola Adibola Olale. I am an immigration attorney based in Alabama, representing immigration clients in all 50 states. Got an immigration case. If it's a case that we handle, we can do represent immigration clients regardless of the state you live in. Okay, basically what I just said is we can represent you whether you're in Alabama or not when it comes to immigration cases. So if you need to contact our office and you are on Facebook or YouTube, the contact information is scrolling across your screen. For those on TikTok and Instagram, is 334-341-4475. I don't care how good looking the guy is. I don't care if he has, I don't need no guy's money. I mean, I don't need nobody to take care of me. Thank you, Jesus. I don't care if you came notarized from heaven. If you're living in Chicago, thank you, Illinois Sanctuary. Thank you always. I do appreciate it every single time. If you're living in Chicago, you're in the person for me. Unless you're moving down to the South. I can't do it. No. Do you know how many times my mom wishes I was back living in Massachusetts? I ain't doing it. The little cold we even get in the South. I mean, it's like, come on. We're so used to not wearing. I can't remember the last time I had heavy winter jacket. I don't even remember the last time I bought it. No, I ain't doing it. But if you need to contact our office, 334-341-4475. If someone can help me put it on TikTok, I would really appreciate that. 334-341-4475. You can also visit our website at olalayalawfirm.com. Send an email to AOS or info@olalayalawfirm.com. You can also text us on WhatsApp and directly to our office number. Please share, like, follow us on all our social media platforms, which everything is at Olale Immigration. So let's get right into it, because I really had the good intention of getting here at 9 o'clock, but somebody called and I lost track of. I was called regarding an immigration case. And once you talk to me about immigration, it's on. But anyway, here we are. Let's talk immigration. So I wanted to come, and I think I've spoken about this topic before. But I want to come and reiterate why, when you file a Vawa case and you do not have to get a divorce, why that can help you in your case. So, topic is divorce with pending Vawa. I get that question. You thought it was TJ keeping me. So, Miss Giva, obviously, TJ, my baby is, I call him my baby, but he's my baby. He's 12. If I ever move away, hello, Mr. Taiwo, from here, it's probably going to, because I'm licensed in New York, it's probably going to be New York, but New York is cold as hell. Like, I may not even leave, but TJ definitely is keeping me here because I share custody with his dad. So I can go anywhere without my child. But why it is important when you have a pending Vawa case, if you do not have to get a divorce, why you should just keep your, how are you doing, Mr. Taiwo? Keep your, I have to get my glasses. Keep your marriage going until your Vawa petition has been approved. So, one question I get a lot is people file for Vawa and they say, hey, Sister Law, go ahead and file for divorce. And I go, what is the reason why you want to file the divorce right now? If it's a case where the person you're married to is just done, they want to get a divorce, they want to move on with their lives, whatever the case may be, you don't have a choice. Because for the most part, if you, in any state, one party's, now there are some states where it's a two-party state. Example would be Mississippi. Mississippi doesn't have a true no-fault divorce ground where the other person has it. But if they try to serve you and you are evading service, or you refuse to be served, and you refuse to file an answer, then that moving party can actually move the court for a default judgment against you. So bottom line, you can't have a default judgment entered against you in absentia. So unless it comes to that, if you have a pending VAWA case, the main reason why it's very important to stay married until your VAWA petition, not the green card itself now. Once the VAWA petition has been approved, then you don't have, and there shouldn't be any reason why your green card application should not be approved, then you're good to go. But I see it time and time again. I still saw it today. We're going to be starting for a new client. We're going to be starting a new VAWA case altogether because she had someone who she paid has been on this case for 4 years, and turns out that they sent in things that completely messed up her case. So in looking at it, the big picture, it's just best to start all over again. Why can't she start all over again? Because she still has the qualified relationship. The qualified relationship means that you're still legally married to the person, or you are within that 2-year window, that because you can't file for VAWA even after a divorce, but you've got a maximum of 2 years from the time your divorce becomes final. So once you have a divorce, you're working with only just a 2-year time frame. If you're still legally married to the person, albeit you're separated from them, there is no requirement that you have to continue living with your abuser. So if you're separated, but the marriage is still valid, and you find yourself where your VAWA petition has been denied, and the best course of action for you is to start again, based on the fact that you have that existing qualified relationship still in place, you're able to refile your VAWA petition and companion applications, whether or not the person is still living with you. Imagine in her case, let's assume because her case she filed with 2018, and that's a long time to wait. So let's assume she had divorced back in 2020. We're in 2023, and we're looking at it, and the best line of action for her is to refile. That would not be possible, because then it would have been more than 2 years since the divorce. So if you do not have to refile, if you do not have to get a divorce while your case is still pending, then it's just best for you to stay married and just let the marriage just sit. Because I mean, you can't. This is another way I look at it. If you stay married to legally, and staying married doesn't mean you have to live with the person. What I'm saying is you are just legally married to the person. If you stay married to the abuser, you're living separately. You avoid a situation where you yourself are seeing someone and then you go get married to somebody else. Because if you are still in a marriage, you have to get a divorce first. So that obviously is going to be a reminder, like, okay, why no more? But to divorce this crazy person, Timothy, so I cannot marry this new love of mine. That acts like a check for you. So that keeps you from doing, because you would think that as much as I talk about you cannot get remarried while your VAWA case is pending, you would think a lot of people listen to that. But when I tell you that I've had cases where people would tell me, I've consulted with people that actually there were 2 people whose VAWA petitions were actually approved, and they consulted with me, because they did not know they were not supposed to get remarried. They remarried before the VAWA petition was approved. And when it was approved, they could not proceed with their green card application because at that time they were already remarried. So they had to start all over again with the spouses that they got married to. Luckily for them, they got married to people who were U.S. citizens, but they thought they were done with paperwork but come to find out, and one of them actually had a lawyer. But this is not going to put a blame on the lawyer, because she was very upfront that she doesn't remember if she was told or not. But in fairness to the lawyer, she never asked the lawyer if she was able to remarry. She just remarried because she thought she could. But you would not fall within the trap of getting remarried if you're still legally married to your abuser, and just wait it out. It is important. Wait it out. There is no hurry in getting married. There's no hurry. I mean, there's nothing that says you cannot divorce, but what are you going to achieve in getting a divorce if You don't know how your case is going to turn out. One of the things I always ask people, especially when you start with me. Now, if you've already been divorced, that's different. Obviously, you can go back and remarry the person. It doesn't make any sense. But if you haven't gotten a divorce, or say, hey, listen, is there anything that is pressing on you right now to file for a divorce? Or is the person, if you do not have to, just hold on, because you never know. I can never guarantee the outcome of your case. I just cannot. I can guarantee the work that I do for you. But as far as you being able to get the result that you hope you will get, I can never do that. That would just be highly irresponsible. So whatever you can do on your end to maximize your chances, or just leave things status quo until further notice, it's always best. So if you have a pending Vawa case and you're contemplating divorce, and unless the other party is at the point where they want to have a divorce, they want to move on with their lives because they want to remarry, I can understand. However, if it's about you wanting to move on, my suggestion, you don't have to follow it, is to hold on. Hold on. There is no hurry. And just let your Vawa case play out. Get your approval. Once you have your approval, and you don't need the green card application itself to be approved, you just need your Vawa petition to be approved. Once you get that approval, then, hey, listen, be my guest. Carry on, file all the divorce petitions you want to file. So that's all she wrote. I wanted to come on again and let us reiterate that if there is no basis, there is no urgency. It's not a do or die to divorce, not to divorce, then what is, like my dad used to say, I am gonna try. But the equivalent of it is let sleeping dogs lie. Whatever it is he said in Yoruba, whoever can help me with that, because I ain't gonna attempt it. But that's all she wrote. Okay. Let's get started on here. I think I have the shortest amount of questions on I may have broken my glasses. I hope not. Gonna have to take it to them to see. I don't think I have, but I hope I'm not. Okay. Hello, Mr. Abu. I will get with you later on. Thank you for opening our ears to the truth. You're welcome. Hello, Dollar. How are you? Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Bill. How are you doing? Okay, so a lot of greetings on YouTube. All right, I'll come back to you guys. Thank you for all the greetings. I'm doing well. I hope you all are doing absolutely well as well. Okay, let us go to TikTok. Okay. Mr. Phillips, I actually had you on my file today, so I should be getting with you by the weekend. Okay, if you don't hear from me latest by Saturday, let me just, I have it on my file. It's part of my, yeah. So if you don't hear from me latest by Saturday, please shoot me an email. Don't forget. Okay. Yeah, that's what I have right here. Got a whole lot of my the one underscore 777. Am I Nigerian? How Nigerian do you want me to be? Yep. The girl is Nigerian to the core. My wife has her employment authorization card, but soon to expire. Can she renew it? If she has a basis to renew, you just can't renew without a eligibility grant to renew. Ken Amanfor, thank you for putting my number up, 334-341-4475. I do appreciate that. Fingerprints review done 4 months ago before, but case 485 still at NBC, not moving to next stage. Why? That's a question for USCIS. There's a lot of waiting, trust me. Filed adjustment through marriage since last April, no EAD. I have another case that we filed, and I've sent God knows how many inquiries now that we filed in March of last year. It's going to be almost a year come this March, and we're still waiting. And so I'm happy for my clients who get, things approved. For instance, I filed an I-90 green card renewal, green card extension. There's some that I filed beginning of last year. We're still waiting. The last case that I filed, the last I-90 green card extension that I filed it. I think they received it exactly December 22nd, 2022. Got to the office today. Boom, there's my client's green card. And I have some who've been waiting for a year. So it's like, there is no rhyme. My point is, there's no rhyme or rhythm with USCIS. It doesn't make any sense. Some have been waiting, and you would think, okay, if you filed earlier on, that you shouldn't. It doesn't make any sense what's going on. There is a class action lawsuit that will be filed. So I'm a member of American Immigration Lawyers Association. I got an email. So I think, and then there's another group, I forget what their name is now, but it looks like something is that maybe there's already a few class action lawsuits based on backlogs and delay. It's just that, and then they want to increase the fees. And I can almost guarantee you, let's stay hopeful, yes. But I can almost guarantee you that even with the fee increase, that's probably still going to be they hire more people. But then, what's the guarantee that the processing time is going to change? But we'll see. I-751 still is not received yet after fingerprinting. I haven't received what yet? Okay. I asked my lawyer to have I-45 to I-36, and he didn't until I now have interviews of I-45. Whether you're going to be scheduled for an interview for your 45 has nothing to do whether you filed with your VAWA or not. That's just completely discretionary to USCIS. Thank you, Greg 1963. Oh, you filed your I-751 3 years and you have not received, it hasn't been granted. And now she's filed for divorce. What you would need to do is to inform USCIS that you are converting to a self-petition based on divorce. So I'm assuming you filed jointly. And so now if she's filed for divorce, you have to notify them, because you don't want to have your send your green card granted, and then they allege that you were not eligible at the time because you filed jointly. I would suggest, especially if you have a lawyer, for your lawyer to contact them and let them know that you filed jointly, and now you're in the process of a divorce, and you're going to be converting to a self-petition divorce ground, and then send in your divorce certificate. Well, as long as you still have your good faith evidence to support your case. It's USCIS waiving interviews for 751 divorce waiver. USCIS, as they've issued that last year, that they're going to be waiving interviews for I-751, not just joint petitions, but abuse all grounds. So if you qualify and you submit enough evidence to support your case, then your case may potentially have interview waived. I had 2 of those last year that interviews were waived. So, and one was an abuse ground. My father is a citizen, but used an alias at my birth. He never filed paperwork. Okay. So I don't have a birth certificate or a consulate report of birth abroad. I'm told I need to apply for citizenship. What else can I do? Talk to a lawyer. That's not something a yes or no. Hello, Ghanaian wife. How are you? How's it going? You need to stop by Demopolis one of these days and say hello. My ex-husband has been deported to South Sudan in 2018 and he doesn't want to divorce me. He already married. Talk to a family lawyer attorney in your if you were in Alabama, there's a way around that, but I cannot help you if you're not in my state because divorce is state specific. Okay, let's see. What questions do they ask you in Vawa green card interview? There's no set question. There are no set questions that it can ask you. Questions that you'll be asked are more about your admissibility issues. If there's anything that is of concern to them, or to verify the information in your form, but that's going to be very, very case specific. So you have to just make sure you go through the information you're providing your 485. My I-45 case approved doesn't still mean I will get an interview. If your 485 was approved, that's what the interview should have been on. So I'm not really sure what you're asking, but generally, if your 485 has been approved, that's what the interview should have been for, unless it's something else. If someone is here a year and a month, can they still apply for asylum? I would suggest, disclaimer, this is just general information, nothing about anyone's specific case. I will suggest that you go ahead and still submit your application, albeit it is over the statutory period, but I'd rather you do it now than wait any longer. But this is the caveat. Make sure you have a reasonable explanation that falls within the exceptions of filing outside the 1 year statutory period for why you're just filing and not within the 1 year. You are welcome, SDIP89. Can a U.S. citizen stepchild file for her stepdad, the parents at common law she lives with him from 3 years, if the common law marriage is state specific? If it's a marriage, so the way it works with USCIS is this: the step-parent stepchild relationship is created as long as the marriage occurs before the child turns, don't quote me on this, but I think before the child turns 18. That there has to be the marriage that establishes the relationship. If you are in a state that recognizes common law marriage, then as long as USCIS recognizes that marriage in that state, then that's fine. But in your case, that will be something that you would need to sit down with a lawyer to discuss whether or not that marriage qualifies for immigration purposes. Okay. Is miscarriage a reason to get I-130 expedited? I'm so sorry to hear about that. That could fall within humanitarian grounds, so you can try. Cannot file for a child and the same time with student visa. I don't understand your question. Are you filing for student visa? What? I'm not understanding your question. Just came across your live and gasped when I saw your hair. Okay, thank you. It's about time I wash the darn hair. I think this weekend is my wash day. I don't look forward to wash. Anybody has natural hair, like natural 4C hair, where you cannot put a comb through your hair when it's dry? That kind of kinky, beautiful kinky hair. But listen, that's the crown God has given me. I embrace it, but it is torturous sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, I want to cut it off. Like, I just don't have the patience. And then I'm like, okay, I'll leave it alone. Thank you. But it is, How much is your consultation? So we just finished we had a month-long special, but that's over now. That was a nice ride. But consultation is 130 for 30 minutes, 245 minutes, 230 an hour. And what I usually do is, if you retain my services within 15 days from the consultation, it's non-refundable, but we offer a courtesy credit to your attorney fees. Okay, let's see. I think I've been able to cover. If you do not have, yeah, I'll try not to cut it. I have those days. I have 10 years green card and wants to file for citizenship, and my spouse is in jail. Should I go ahead? That's a tricky one, because you have to prove that you are in marital union for the 3 years. But if you don't mind waiting the 5 years, then I'll probably say you should, because how are you going to provide proof of marital union if he's in jail? Unless you can, somehow argue that you're still in marital union, you still go visit him, even though you're not living in the same place. You send him money, you make phone calls, everything is still fine. So it's just, the only difference is you're not physically in the same place. And when does it get out? How can a physician apply for a visa to work in the U.S.? If you go to the USCIS.gov website, there's a lot of information as far as employment opportunities. There's also national interest waiver for physicians, where you can petition for yourself. Actually, I got my green card through my ex-husband. I don't know if I've ever told you guys this, because my ex-husband is a physician. And so we had to go to, and that's how I ended up in the South from Chicago. We had to come to rural health to serve out a period of time to get on. So listen, when I tell you, I've been on all kind of visas and to finally be on H1 and finally get a green card. So there are a lot of opportunities for physicians, and I also do national interest waiver for physicians as well, but I don't provide. You have to get your own hospital and employer. Or if you're doing the national interest waiver, you don't need to have an offer of employment, but you must be willing to go to an underserved area. Okay, let's see. Let's see. I just received my divorce paper, and I received citizenship interview. What should I do? Please consult with a lawyer. That's the first thing you need to do. Can you file an I-130 and student visa application at the same time? Well, I assume what you're asking is, can you file an I-130 for your child and then have that child also file an application for an F1 visa? If that's your question, you are contradicting yourself. You're filing an I-130, that is an immigrant petition for your child. At the same time, this child is filing a non-immigrant visa that has a temporary intent, non-immigrant intent, saying, I'm going to be here for that specified, specified period, and I will be returning. But I have my mother filing an I-130, so that means I may not be returning. So you can, short answer. However, you're going to contradict yourself, and they probably will most likely deny the student visa and tell her to wait for the I-130. So what you may want to do is let her apply for the student visa first, see how that turns out. And if that doesn't work out, then you can go ahead and file the I-130. Okay, let's see. All right, let me go to Instagram. Let's go to Instagram. Instagram people. Hello, Miss Giwa. How are you? How are my babies doing? Hello, Mr. Yefeso. Ọmọ bàbá Sàámú ni o, ṣàlàáfíà lẹ́wà. Can someone file for special immigrant juvenile when being abused by stepdad? Why not file for Vawa as an abuser if you qualify? Um, that's more of what you should, unless that's what you're asking. Special immigrant is more about dependent children and not in their interest to return them and then being able to self petition for themselves. The abuse can be part of why the court would find them dependent. But if you're being abused by a stepdad and you're under the age of, even if you're over the age of 21, you still may qualify. So that's what I would say to look into. But sit down with a lawyer and I would like to speak to you about something on the phone. You would have to schedule a paid consultation to do that. Modusel Link 1, a Cali from New York City. I'm going to be in New York City later this year. I love that city. I'm telling you, there's no place like New York. Because I grew up in Lagos and, I'm almost 1,040. 1G4 island children. There's just something about growing up in Lagos and loving New York. It's just that fast life. I mean, it was a struggle for me to adapt when we moved to the South. Oh my world. It was a struggle. It was illegal gunny. And that was way before I even got divorced. Yeah, it was illegal gunny grounds for divorce. Because when you move to a town where the only thing in the town is Walmart. That's not where I live right now. But initially, when we had to serve out the 3-year period in the rural health, and I was like, Lori green card, I know. My mom was like, "Ibo lo no, but we thank God for today, because I don't know. I was so sure that 3 years goodbye, I'm out. Like I know I cannot. This is not me. When I tell you I've been living in the South for 2006, so going on 17 years. Because my oldest, who is 18, my oldest kid is 18 now. We moved to the South and he was 18 months. Ironically, he was 18 months when we moved. And then 6 years after that, I had TJ. And so it is a great place to raise kids and it grows on you because it's just a really great place to raise your kids. It's much slower pace for me, but whenever I get too bored, I just leave town and I love traveling. So for me, that works. Can 12 years apply for a special immigrant juvenile? I would say so. That you need to speak to your lawyer because you may be special immigrant is more about a child that has been neglected or abandoned by one parent or abused by one parent or the other, and the court has to declare that child dependent and then transfer custody to either you. So, or even if it's a 12-year-old child, on that you as the parent of that child, even if you're not being abused by your spouse, the step parent, you can't actually file VAWA petition for the child as well as include yourself in that petition based on the abuse that 12-year-old is going through. So sit down with the lawyer and know what your options are. Okay. Snowing right now in Nashville. So you're on your own. Is it good to file taxes with someone's spouse? The husband has no job but has a social security number and work authorization card is not out yet. I mean, it's always good to file taxes with your spouse if you're going to use it as evidence of your good faith. Okay, let's see. Pretty blessed. Good evening to you as well. Thank you, Eleanor. Eleanor, I probably I'm merging your name. I think it's Eleanor's, right? Eleanor's. That's the way I would pronounce it, unless it's wrong. Eleanor Sanctuary. Thank you very, very much. I do really appreciate it. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. It's like that in Texas. Yeah, Texas I can do. I can do Texas weather. See, my best season is fall. It's not too hot. I'm Goldilocks. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. It's just right. That's my season. Like, because the summertime in the South, and to money, in fact, community in the South during the summer, money I know, because I am always very, I'm very, I'm very irritable during the summertime because it's hot. So I don't need anyone to add to that hotness. It's just hot. And so for a long time, the longest time, I did not care to have a car with leather seats when we moved to the South, just for that reason. Because in the South, in the summertime it's hot, in the wintertime it's cold. And then when they started making cars or when cars started having heated and cooling system, like, okay, I can live with that. Because well, my Jonathan, you sit there like, oh, like what the hell was that? You can't win. I'm sure God is looking down like you can't satisfy those people. But fall is my kind of season where it is just not cold, it's not hot, it's just good weather for the skin. And my skin is so sensitive, and I just, I don't do sun. I'm not one. When I see, no offense to white people, but when I see black folks at the beach and they're lying in the sun, I'm like, well, I'm black people too, because I think I got enough melanin. I get vitamin D with my vitamins. I don't need to be out here. No, I'm usually under an umbrella or something. I ain't doing it. Not doing it. Yeah. Why is there a huge backlog? Do you think the huge backlog will make USCIS skip green card? That was the whole point of them actually introducing the whole idea of waiving interviews for some cases. So far this year, I've had 2 more cases that I've been able to incur because, I'm nosy like that. So I've called USC. I was like, hey, by the way, can y'all check and see if there's any indication that this the interview in this case is to be waived? And I've been able to confirm too. I just haven't told my client. I've finally been able to tell the client from last year because now we have the notice. But I'm not going to say anything. So you may actually be one of the client watching me right now. I ain't going to say anything because if they change their mind, you ain't going to say, no, you ain't doing it. So until we get notification of if it's sending the medical, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. But that's the whole point of them doing that. It's still just not really, making any dent whatsoever that's really significant. How is the interview like after you have our approval? It's very, very case specific, and that is even if they schedule you for an interview. I got national NVC documents acceptance notification since October 2022. We've been waiting for interview dates since then. All effort to get this expedited has proved abortive. Is there anything you can? I think we've talked about this. It's hard to get anything expedited at the NVC. It's just what it is. I have a case that's been documentaries qualified since December 2021. And every single request to expedite has been turned down. That's just what's going on. It's highly ridiculous. It is highly ridiculous, but that's what it is. So, and that's what I'm telling people, that because I had a client who consulted with me. They've retained my services now, but her mother came to visit, and she doesn't want her much. The mother was going to go back. Her visa was going to expire, I think, coming in March. And the mother was like, okay, I need to go back. And she wanted her to consult with me before she went back to see what's the possibility of her getting. And I said, you going back and now you're filing the I-130 for your mother, it's probably going to get her trapped back home because now you've created an immigrant intent on her behalf. Why don't you let her file everything now? And if she really needs to leave within the next 6 months, God willing, would have an advanced parole. She can travel with that while the case is pending rather than be stuck back in Nigeria. So that's what we're doing. So my point is, if you have a family member in that situation where they have, they can easily adjust in the country, it's probably going to be best than waiting at the embassy, really. Do you think the present times will get better now that we are in 2023? I had a green card extension case approved in roughly about 30 days. So I don't know if that's a good sign. We're going to stay optimistic and see. But I think really the impact will probably come when they actually succeed in increasing their fees. That's what I think is going to end up being. Asylum with no interview for 6 years. I feel stuck. What can I do? You're not alone. I have a lot of people who reach out to me and tell me that if you really want to travel, you have the option of, now you can't ask them to expedite your interview date. Before you do that, make sure you already have as much evidence that you've submitted, or you're going to gather enough evidence for your case before you ask that question, ask them to expedite, because they may expedite, you never know. But if you don't have enough credible evidence for your case, then you are basically playing with removal proceedings. So it's one thing to be in a hurry to have your asylum interview. It's another thing to actually have the evidence that's going to back up your case. Because if you have your interview and then you don't have sufficient evidence, then that is removal proceedings, and that's even much longer wait. Then you're stuck. You really can't go anywhere once you're in removal proceedings. But if your case is still waiting at the asylum office, affirmative asylum, then you can go ahead and file an I-131 advanced parole, and that can allow you to travel. You just cannot go back to the country you're seeking protection from, but you can travel to any other country so you don't feel like you're just stuck in here. Hi, Ms. Anik, how are you? I submitted employment-based I-45 at the same time with my colleagues. One received approval, and it's been 1 month now, still waiting for the other. What can we do? If your case is still waiting no more person time, it's nothing you can do. Like I always say, USCIS has no rhyme or rhythm. That is, sometimes you're like, what? How does it make sense for someone who filed EAD at the same time with you has their EAD, you're still waiting? That's USCIS. Akeem Dennis Sworn at Cali. You cannot. No, this kind of hair, you can't come in when it's dry. Unless you want to cry. Unless you want to. Oh, there's snow in Texas? For real? Y'all have snow in Texas? Are you serious? I want to know more about H-1B visa. Who's eligible? H-1B is the summary of it is it's a bachelor's degree work visa. That's the easiest way to put it. So, and it has to be petitioned for you by a US-based employer. Registration period actually starts on March 1st and ends and goes through March 17. And that is for CAP subject employers. What does that mean? There are CAP exempt. So everyone who is not CAP exempt is CAP subject. CAP exempt are universities, colleges with four-year programs, state agencies, nonprofit or research organizations. If you don't fall within that umbrella, then everybody else is CAP subject. So everybody else has to submit a registration and wait for the lottery system. And if your registration is selected, then that employer can go ahead and file the H-1B petition on your behalf. Thank you, Alicia Thompson. Do you reply to prima facie? What do you mean? Do you reply to prima cookies, baby? What do you mean by that? Can I apply to college with asylum pending? Each college it depends on each college, and it depends on each state. So that's something you would have to. Short answer, yes, but it would still depend on the school that you're applying to. Can we have multiple I-135 for one person? Yes. Okay. Oh yeah, Steve, for real. So spring, yeah, spring is good. So what? Well, February tomorrow, right? So by March, middle of March, the third week of March is spring. Um, yeah, but the thing about spring is it's a reminder that summer is coming. If you live in the South, we don't have full spring. Like by May, it is hot, and summer doesn't officially start till June. But was like May, April ending is hot. Like we're already wearing like I'm the a little fun fact about me. I don't know if my mom is here. Growing up, my dad just could never understand why I didn't like wearing clothes. I'm not trying to be TMI, but I'm one person that the less clothes you have on, the better. Like I am like when my kids are with their dad and it's just me in the house, I'm a very, very happy camper. I've always been that way. My mom could not understand for the life of her. My dad just could not understand. I'd be so like I was the kind of person growing up, and I grew up with two brothers. My younger brother was just like, why doesn't she wear clothes? Like she's always in underwear or something. I'm the kind of person that the less clothes you can wear, the better. But I don't want to be hot. But that's always my excuse during the summertime. Like I always I always say that. Y'all don't judge. But if Adam and Eve, or better still, if Eve didn't make Adam sin, and we all had to be naked everywhere we go, I will fit in because I just don't care to have so many clothes. I just don't. I mean, what is it? So if they decide we're all going to live in a nudist community, I will be very happy. That's a little fun fact about me, but government near Lati washer. So if we're going to wear clothes, please don't make it too hard. Let's just be able to breathe. Does anyone identify with me? I'm sure there's someone else out there. I have a friend that was called that his interviews waived filed in Dallas. That's good. Texas needs to be waiving into because there's a lot of backlog in Texas. When would you suggest I start filing for my partner who lives in Ghana and we've been married since August? Is it too early to start? No, you should have started when you got married. Oh, you should have started since August. Because have you been listening? It's the wait is killing. Now, the funny thing is, you may have your I-135 for him, and it may be approved in less than 6 months because it's USCIS. And then you come back and say, hey, listen, girl, it was approved. That would not be surprising. So please go ahead and start the process of filing for your husband. Okay, let's see. As a lawyer, how do you verify divorce from Nigeria for authenticity? I don't. That's something that Nigerian lawyers have to help you to do. I can tell you based on the amount of things I've seen and what USCIS looks out for and what the Nigerian Marriage Act says the format has to be. I can tell you what discrepancies may be in your decree, but I don't authenticate documents. That's something you'll have to do back home. Can I apply for citizenship after 5 years, a green card after divorce? Yes. Listen, easy like Sunday. Hey. It's obvious with this. Yeah, I wear a lot of sleeveless. You know this, right? I wear a lot. I come out washroom. It's like, oh Lord. Yeah, I just don't. I'm a very, very freestyle kind of person. I'm just you're little here for real. My I-485 was approved, and 2 days later, the status on my case tracker changed to case being reconsidered. Then it changed to open for reconsideration and has remained that way for 61 days. I couldn't take a guess what's going on. What I can suggest will be to do a FOIA request of your record and try to see what may be going on behind the scene. I missed my asylum interview like over 7 months and just found it now. What happens with my case? I would say to contact them as soon as you can, because you don't want a situation where they actually now close your case for failure to appear for interview, and then the next thing is they're going to issue notice to European Immigration Court. If someone overstayed on an unexpired visa, can they travel domestically? It doesn't matter whether your visa is expired or unexpired. Visa is not what allows you to stay in the country. Your I-94 is what authorizes your stay here, and that determines how long you can stay. So if you've overstayed, it doesn't, your unexpired visa is irrelevant. Can you travel domestically? With caution, because except you have something that is pending with immigration. How long after divorce can you marry your U.S. fiance? Each state is different, so you would have to find out what the law is in your state. In my state, in the state of Alabama, after a divorce, you cannot remarry for 60 days in the state of Alabama unless you are remarrying the person you just divorced. But if you're remarry somebody else, then in my state, you have to be divorced for 60 days before you can remarry. But in your state, you would have to find out what the law is in your state. Okay. Okay, people. Oh, all right. I don't think I got a lot on. Hello, Miss Pope. I know who you are. Hello. Okay. Can I apply for Vawa if I have never entered USA? So one of the requirements for a Vawa case is for you to be physically present in the United States. However, there are some exceptions. One of such exceptions will be if your abuser is a government employee, if your abuser is a military man or woman, or if the abuse happened while you are present in the United States. So in your case, since you say you've never entered the United States, then you have to decide whether you qualify based on the other two exceptions. Hello, Mr. West. How are you? Okay. Raquel says, good night. When filing Vawa, are your kids automatically added or added? Okay, let me rephrase your question. So your question probably is, if when you're filing for Vawa, are your kids automatically added, or do you have to file for them individually? Your kids are not automatically added. Obviously, you have to include their names in your I-360, and if they're included, then they usually will be listed on your prima facie determination. However, if you want them to also have their green card, apply for green cards, then you would have to, they would have to apply for the I-485 separately from you. Now, if your kids are not here in the United States, once your Vawa petition is approved, then you can file an I-824 and ask USCIS to notify the NVC that you have been approved and you have derivative beneficiaries that will be applying for immigrant visas based on your approved Vawa petition. All right, people. Okay, that's about it that I can take for tonight. As always, thank you, everybody. Hello, Mr. Kobina. How are you? Thank you very, very much for always joining and all the support. Let me see. I think I missed. Can call you for ask for priority date to switch. You can contact our office and schedule a consultation. 334-341-4475. I do not offer free consultation. So you can call my office and we can schedule a consultation for you. Okay, so we'll see you guys on Happy New Month in advance to you as well. Happy New Month to you as well. And even as we go into this new month, we're praying and seeking God's favor. And we're going to decree and declare that his mercies will go before us. Every day of February will favor us. Every day of February will be conducive to us. That will not, the February would not bring with it bad news. February would bring with it joy and abundance and favor and mercy and grace. That God's mercy will go before us and make way for us. That in all that we do, in all that we aspire to be, in all that we seek before God, that he will make a way where there seems to be no way. Every immigration officer who is going to decide on your cases, just as the Bible says that the heart of the king is in his hands, just as a river, he turns it whichever way he directs. When I tell you, for instance, let me just say that real quick. My client's case was approved yesterday. When I tell you that the RFE seemed impossible to overcome, and then there was a part where, and I told her, like, this is going to be a hard sell because they've already concluded you've submitted a fraudulent document. I don't know how God is going to do it. We're going to make the argument and we're going to leave the rest to God. And that's why I said the day I begin to take credit for anything is the day I begin to fail. Because I'm very, very aware and fully convinced that it is only purely, solely, convincingly the hand of God. The hand of God. He decides who to show favor to. Doesn't mean one is better than the other. It just means that our times are different and our seasons are different. Your favor, it doesn't have to come at my own time, and your favor doesn't have to, and my favor doesn't have to come at your own time. It comes when God chooses, when he pleases him. But all we can do is just to hold on and keep having faith. And so I use her case as an example to say that when God decides to show up and show off on your behalf, there is no man or woman that can stop that. He makes impossibilities possible. He is the invisible God who makes impossibilities possible. The invisible one who does the impossible. So as long as we keep believing, Bible says Abraham hoped against hope. No matter how difficult it gets, no matter how uphill that battle is, there is absolutely nothing that has ever befallen man that is above or beyond God's power. At the end of the day, he breathed this entire universe into existence. How much more that concerns his own people, right? How much more that concerns his own people. Probably I read this not because just to get it tattooed, but because it's a daily reminder for me. It says the plans he has for us are not of evil, but of good, to give us a future and a hope, to bring us to that expected end. Sometimes we don't understand that the end we may think it is may not necessarily be the end that God has in store. It just may be a huddle, it may be a detour. Just hold on. And I speak in Jesus' name that February is going to be a month of miracles. It's going to be a month of testimonies. It's going to be a month of jubilation that we would all remember to come back and submit at the throne of grace, at the feet of mercy, that he alone would take all the praise. And I'll see you guys next time.